Hi, I'm Thomas Risse. I'm a political scientist specializing in international relations, and I'm located at Freie Universität Berlin at the Otto Suhr Institute of Political Science. I'm sitting here in my second home office, which is 8,000 feet high or 2,600 meters in the Rocky Mountains of the US state of Wyoming. The US has been my second home ever since I completed my PhD in Germany in 1987. When the Berlin Wall came down in November 1989, I was sitting at Cornell University in my office when a colleague called and asked me, "Thomas, did you hear? Something is going on in Germany. Can you find out?" So I call my sister in Bonn, Germany. "Eva, something's going on in Berlin. What is it?" Eva answers, "Yes, in fact, people are dancing on the Berlin Wall." I go, "Eva, do you know what you just told me? And what that means?" The rest is history. As a kid, I wanted to become a Catholic bishop because I thought that Catholic bishops get to drive a red Mercedes. Later on, as a teenager, I became involved in all kinds of human rights and peace causes, such as Amnesty International or Pax Christi. So it was only natural for me that I went to university to study social sciences in order to acquire the tools to change the world. However, at the university, I quickly learned that doing politics and studying politics are two quite different things. And this tension has been with me throughout my professional life. In the 1980s, I was a peace researcher, and I was also involved in a Catholic peace movement. In the 1990s, I studied human rights in order to find out how we can prevent autocratic states to torture their people. And right now, I'm involved in research on the future of liberal democracies around the world at a time when these democracies are profoundly challenged by all kinds of populist movements on the one hand and by autocratic leaders on the other. My research has always been motivated by the desire to improve upon the human condition. And I think scientists should never be only interested in their research, but also be engaged in society and even politics. But science and politics are different. Policy making is about decision making under uncertainty. Science has uncertainty written into its DNA. Our scientific results are always preliminary. We never know for sure. Our peers criticize us constantly, as a result of which we have to revise our findings. And that is how scientific progress comes about. So, when I talk to policymakers, I always have to be clear that scientific results are preliminary and that truth is uncertain. And to make that clear is always very, very hard for both of us. When the Berlin Wall came down, many believed that strong states, liberal democracies, and market economies are the only remaining game in town. 30 years later, liberal democracies are themselves under stress, and the vast majority of people neither lives in democracies nor in well-functioning states. So does that mean they're all doomed and they have no prospect for life in peace and prosperity? Not at all, if the conditions are right. Let's look at two examples from sub-Saharan Africa. South Sudan has been a failed state ever since it was internationally recognized in 2011, with enduring civil wars, gross human rights violations, and the like. In contrast, Somaliland, a province of Somalia which has been a failed state since the early 1990s, has done quite well in providing education, healthcare, peace, and basic human rights. So what explains the difference? Our research on many countries from all regions of the world points to two factors that are particularly important. First, communities of trust. People who trust each other can work together and they get things done, even under adverse circumstances. Second, legitimacy. People who can participate in governance tend to accept their rulers as just and to follow rules, even if these rules are costly to them. So, these are the lessons from the Global South that actually travel to the North. Social trust and legitimacy are significant stress relievers for our democracies. In the end, then, there is scientific evidence for hope.